Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes continuing to dip their toes in the transfer portal, landing another prospect from the JUCO ranks in cornerback Demetrius Freeney, the number 4 national prospect in JUCO. And what you're seeing Miami do is really target this cornerback position, specifically after spring practice. I think that kind of says that they want to get some more cornerbacks in the room. And going to that Lance Guidry defensive scheme, I think they want to turn the ball over. They want to put pressure on the quarterback, leave their cornerbacks on islands. If you want to run that type of scheme, which I like, you look at Lance Guidry's defense at Marshall, led the country or was top 10 in the country in turnovers, top 10 in the country in third down stops. Like, this is going to be a defense that puts heat on opposing quarterbacks, wants to force turnovers. You need the cornerbacks on the back end that are able to make that happen and play on islands. Demetrius Freeney, certainly a guy that I think can do that. Now, before we get into Demetrius Freeney, take a little bit look at his film and take a little bit more of a look at what Miami's done in the transfer portal. Just want to say thank you to you guys, and especially the Hurricane fans. Anytime there's a chance to talk some Miami football, I'm certainly going to take it because you guys have shown just a ton of support to the channel. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We just talked and previewed Miami's official visit weekend coming up. It's a massive one. If we get any news on that, we'll certainly be back on to talk about it. But again, can't thank you guys enough for all the support, especially the Hurricane fans. So if you do enjoy the content, lock in, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into Demetrius Freeney. And the first thing I want to say to kind of temper some Miami fans' nerves about Mario Cristobal taking prospects that maybe shouldn't be takes. This is a guy that had offers from Oklahoma, Colorado, Houston, Louisville. A lot of these top Power 5 teams wanted Demetrius Freeney. And when you have a chance to get a cornerback with length and speed, I think you're going to take it all day long. You look at the college football ranks, you look at the NFL draft ranks. That's what is king at the cornerback position. Demetrius Freeney is a guy that's 6'1", has some good length, runs a 10,900 meter, and he's also productive as a true freshman at the JUCO ranks. 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. There's a lot to like about Demetrius Freeney. And before we get into his film, I do want to just note a sneaky another storyline, and that is you take a look at the number 1 JUCO prospect in the transfer portal right now. It's another cornerback. It's his college teammate from College of San Mateo, and that's Siona Lealu. And he's also considering Miami. So now you have one of his boys potentially recruiting another very talented cornerback from the JUCO ranks. That's something to monitor. He kind of said that this kid's gotten a lot of offers too, but he's certainly going to be in his ear trying to get him down to Miami. Now, I do want to take a look at Demetrius Freeney. When it's a JUCO rank, it's sometimes hard to find some good film on these kids. You have a good look at what he brings to the table, and you kind of see why Lance Guidry wants a guy like him. He has really good ball skills. You're going to see him right here. Keep his eyes on the quarterback, read the eyes, and then go break on the football, make a play, take it to the house. Lance Guidry's defense, and we said this a lot, this is going to look a little different. Like, they're going to put heat on quarterbacks. They're going to try to turn the ball over. Demetrius Freeney, as a young kid, has shown a real ability to go up and play the football. Another thing that you're going to like, and right here, he's going to want to put hands on wide receivers. He's going to use the boundary as his best friend. And again, I love my cornerbacks, kind of like Tyreek Stevenson last year for Miami. And if you guys follow our NFL draft content, that's something you loved about Tyreek Stevenson is just the physical nature. If you got some long arms and some good length, use it. Put your hands on other wide receivers. And I think Demetrius Freeney, as a young kid, has showed that he is aggressive and he wants to be up in the face of these wide receivers, using the boundary, squeezing them out. There's a lot to like. And another thing that I think college football, not just Miami fans, but college football fans, and you see that, like, go back and like give me a quarterback with a little bit of attitude there, right? One of the things though, before we see that play, that I kind of want to note is that there is so much talent in this country, so many athletes in this country that just go under the radar. And so I feel like a lot of college football fans, when it's not a top 100 dude nationally out of high school, or not one of the top kids in the transfer portal, if it's not one of those guys, I feel like they write him off as being like a bad take or Miami can't recruit. There is so much talent across the country that you kind of just got to trust Mario Cristobal in the scouting department and getting their guys. And I want a cornerback with that attitude. That's one of the things that you just want. And again, breaking on the football, being aggressive, being a sure tackler in space. He kind of checks off a lot of the boxes that you really want to see. Now, I want to take a look at what Miami's done in the transfer portal. We're going to scroll all the way down to their transfer portal additions here. One second kid out of JUCO that they've taken, Shamar Kirk, the wide receiver, also a very talented kid. I think there's been two positions that Miami's really wanted to address. One is that interior defensive line, and the second is cornerback. And I kind of like what they've taken, right? You take a look at these three cornerbacks. Now, Terry Roberts transferring to Michigan State after spring practice, that might even be a good sign, right? Terry Roberts was a guy that's a veteran dude that transferred in to start at Miami. And when he's transferring, that probably means that he's probably wasn't going to get as much playing time as he would have liked, which is probably saying that these cornerbacks are stepping up because Terry Roberts is a solid cornerback coming from Iowa in the Big Ten. And then you take a look at the other two takes they have. Jaden Davis is a proven commodity, which I think you'll like, right? He's a fifth-year senior. He started 20-plus games for Oklahoma. You know what you're going to get with him. And then you take two guys in Demetrius Freeney and Jadias Richard from Vanderbilt, who are longer cornerbacks that are young, haven't played that much football, but are guys that you might want to just get into your team and develop. And that's kind of how you use the transfer portal, right? And I think Mario Cristobal probably didn't use the transfer portal as effectively as he would have liked during his first year at Miami. And you see guys like Lincoln Riley or Hugh Freeze really use the transfer portal to jumpstart this rebuild. I don't know if you have to rebuild Miami, but jumpstart their tenure at their new school. Miami, they took 11 transfers, but the hit rate wasn't very good. And so Mario Cristobal now, when you have to replace both your coordinators, schematically on both sides of the ball, it's going to be a little different. I think you're seeing Mario Cristobal now using the transfer portal to go get proven talent that more specifically is going to fit what you're trying to do on both sides of the ball. You got a guy like Tyrell Harrell is going to stretch the field in Shannon Dawson's offense. And then at the defensive side of the ball, you're getting guys at the cornerback position who you feel really comfortable about being guys that are going to be able to play on their own, play the football, and force turnovers. Lance Guidry's defense, it's going to be an in-your-face defense. You go back to looking at what he did at Marshall. You want to force turnovers and force negative plays. And I'm personally a fan of that kind of defense. For one, just as a fan, it's more fun to watch. I think Miami fans are certainly going to be more fun. You look, I hate to keep going back to Marshall. Marshall's secondary forced a 50% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks. They averaged over 2 turnovers a game. Like the secondary, specifically the cornerback spot, is a very important position to this Lance Guidry defense. And I think you're seeing them do that in the transfer portal, bringing in guys that, some talented guys that maybe you got to develop a little bit, and then a guy like Jaden Davis who you know what you're going to get. I'm a fan of what Miami's doing. I'm a fan of what Demetrius Freeney brings. And, hey, maybe his boy from his JUCO college is going to come to Miami as well. Appreciate you guys. Wanted to hop on and just talk a little bit about what Miami is continuing to do in the transfer portal. Appreciate you guys checking the fellas out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And again, official visits going down, a lot of talent going to Miami to take visits. So we'll keep you guys updated on that front as well. Talk to y'all later.